Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching the Patreon bonus stories. All right. I thought we'd start with this commercial. This was sent in to us by a viewer. And this is a VW e-Golf commercial from a couple of years ago. And it was sent in to us from our friend Steven in the UK. And it's pretty funny from a bunch of different levels. So let's just watch it first.
So gut kann sich ein Abschied anfühlen. Der E-Golf, 100% elektrisch. Der E-Golf, das E-Auto.
All right, so guy goes into the convenience store. He's really sad. We're not quite sure why yet. And it turns out it's because he's going to have to leave gas behind. Right. Why?
Because he has an electric car. He has an e-Golf.
Now, first thing I thought was funny.
Yeah.
VW has dropped the e-Golf.
Right. So kind of ironic there.
Great car. Don't know why they dropped it. But also kind of funny is that VW paid money to run this ad campaign, and they really wanted to stress the gasoline aspect.
Right. You're giving away the gasoline. You don't need to go to the gas station anymore.
But they're dragging their feet on EVs in general.
Right.
So it's almost like their ad campaign company didn't quite understand who they were working for.
I think that the ad campaign is I mean, that's a great commercial.
It
is. If you're thinking about it, you're like, it doesn't make any sense. It's funny because you're like, you don't love the people at the convenience store in the gas station.
Like he almost throws up when he drinks the coffee, like, you know.
Right. It's, all the things that you hate about going to the gas station is dealing with the, hello, yes, pump 3, okay, whatever. If that's how you pay for gas or whatever. The pumps, they're dirty and
well, you know what I think is funny
smelly,
is that even the companies that own gas stations, the independent operators, can't make any money anymore by selling that product.
Right.
They now have to have a convenience store attached to that product.
Every single gas station.
That's their only moneymaker is to get you out of the car during the time that you had to get out anyway. And I think this is an important point for all those people who are like, well, electric cars are so inconvenient. I have to get out and plug it in.
Right.
You got to get out of your car with the gas car. They don't come to your car anymore. I don't know of any stations in the United States where they come and pump it practically. So you got to get out of your...
there are some.
Very few.
And all of New Jersey.
Very few.
Yeah.
Where you got to get out of your car anyway. You got to go into this convenience store while you're waiting, and you have to, like you said, you have to arrange for your pump, like pump 3, like got to do all that usually, and all because they need that revenue from the convenience store.
That's
Otherwise,
true.
They're going to go out of business. They can't afford to sell the gas. They make practically nothing on the gas.
Right.
Who's making the money on the gas?
The
oil companies.
Right.
It's like with the chickens. The more you look into Tyson and Purdue, they sell chicken farmers the whole setup, right? They get them stuck under this huge loan. They sell them the food, the feed, the birds, and then a few years later, the chicken farmer's like, why did I sign that paper? I'm now indebted to this, Tyson or Purdue. I'm making no money as a chicken farmer. And that's what the oil companies did. Same thing. They keep all the money for themselves. So, yeah, just funny that, this guy is representing VW here, and they don't think this way.
No. Right.
This is all BS.
It's like double irony.
Yeah, it's like Alanis Morissette's ironic song. There's no irony in the song, but it was called "Isn't This Ironic?" So isn't that ironic that you have a song about irony with no irony?
Here's what I think. VW said, we would like a commercial to promote the Volkswagen e-Golf, and they said, okay, great. They came up with this great commercial. They showed it, and all of the guys in the boardroom were like, I would be really sad to not have gas anymore. It's like they didn't get the humor or something.
Right.
It's just...
Right. And, it's just a precursor to what's actually going to happen.
Right.
Like, you're all going to one day see that your gas stations disappear.
Right.
Because there's going to be no need for them.
Absolutely.
And what's going to become of those gas stations? I want to ask
Parks,
this.
please be parks.
Please, yeah.
I mean, I think that now might be the time to start these initiatives of turning gas stations into parks. I know that this is very preemptive, but like if
Could-
you're on some committee or like if you're like in the parks department, I'm just picturing Leslie Knope.
Or were you like pre-option the land, like for a cheaper amount? You say like to the like that's a good idea.
Right, just
actually.
start figuring it out. Like, get all
Yeah.
your paperwork in order. Try to figure out, like, try to
Or,
like.
or like e-scooter companies, like so you could do share rides.
It's
there.
either that or like just put in charging stations, like 2 or 3, and then a park in the gas station
it.
land.
I like
I think just try to push legislation.
But also, if you're just a regular person,
No, it's true.
look at those parcels of land, knowing that they're going to go away, and think to yourself like, knowing that ahead of the crowd might lead to some
Now,
opportunities.
I keep in mind though that with each gas station comes a
giant
giant
tank.
tank full of probably giant leaking tank full of gasoline.
Well, it depends. I mean, the newer stations have double-walled tanks with interstitial alarms. And
And
stuff
which
like
ones
that.
do you think are going to go out of business first?
Yeah, that's a good point.
The worst ones,
That's a
the
good point.
the super fun sites, they're all
Yeah.
going to be. It's going to be disgusting.
Yeah.
We're going to look back. I swear to God, we're going to look back in like 5-10 years, and we're just going to be like. We had trucks that were super loud. We had gas stations that were just poison.
All right, let's move on. What is this, Jesse? So this is
This is a bit more positive. So this
okay.
is through the eyes of Tesla Autopilot in Paris. So we're bringing you nice views of Paris, but also through the eyes of a computer. This reminds me a lot of the Terminator vision in the movie Terminator.
but in a good way.
In a good way, yes.
We're
Instead
not trying
of
to find Sarah
he's
Connor
not
and kill her.
finding
We're just
targets.
We're
Instead,
just trying to
these
find
are
the Champs-Élysées.
right. Basically, instead of finding targets, yes, this is finding
Well,
things
not targets
to avoid.
kill. Right. Yeah,
Right.
It's finding targets to avoid. I like that.
I don't know about targets. Let's not call them targets. Let's call them something else. Let's call them
Objects of interest.
objects. Right. Really, really interesting to watch in real time as this is happening.
So can I ask a couple questions?
Yeah.
So the yellow lines, that's the route that it thinks is a road. Like it thinks the
yeah, that's
the road
I think
that-
where it thinks the boundaries of
Okay.
where it can drive are. Then
But
there's
n-
that center line,
Okay.
which is where it wants to drive.
Okay, now what's green?
Green is all the areas of the road.
That's like safe to drive on.
Right, like you can safely go on there, and you can see that places where there are cars, don't have green underneath them.
Okay.
Each car has its own little identifier, so it has its own ID number. It has a confidence. It has
Their velocity.
their velocity, and that is in relation to the car,
Yep.
your car.
Now there's ones that say no rad. Does that mean no radar?
Yep.
So that's just picked up by the visual.
right. Because radar is basically just in front of the car.
Okay. And then you've got what it looks like little dots on what turn out to be people.
Right.
So
Those are
it-
pedestrians,
it can-
and it can classify them. So you'll notice that the pedestrians are in yellow, the cyclists are in green. It has red for cars and purple for trucks.
So how did we get this footage?
This is basically
A white hat hacker?
yeah, white hat hacker.
Now, can you just specify for people at home?
Yeah.
White hat is someone who's a good hacker. Like you didn't hack in to sell this to bad people.
Right.
You hacked in to just learn.
Right, you're not trying to like bring
Do
anyone
harm.
down or anything. Right, you're almost like
Just interested.
A lot of the time, white hat hackers will hack something, and then they will go to the company that they just hacked,
and
they're
say
like,
this is how I got in.
they're like, "This is how I got in. I'll sell you the information because, of course, you want to know it." And that way they can fix whatever they need to.
And a lot of times they get invited by the company to white hack.
right,
again.
like please try and break into our system, and then we can put up digital.
This I just love. I mean, I could just watch this for hours. Basically, it's far more advanced than I thought. First of all, and
Yeah.
here's the amazing thing to me: Waymo is doing autonomous cars, but they're doing it with LiDAR as one of their primary inputs. And they're doing it in Phoenix, Arizona as one of their big first markets. And the more you think about Phoenix, you think about a few things. One, very few pedestrians. Like this isn't New York, right? But there's very few people walking around the street, very few bikers.
It's very well laid out.
Very well laid out, wide streets,
Right.
no snow, very few rain days.
Right.
Like it's the most perfect place to drive. Okay, there's no potholes to speak of. If they can get their system to work in Phoenix, great. But then you have to find another city like Phoenix.
Right.
Whereas this is Paris.
Yeah.
I mean, I've driven in Paris.
And
it
you
is
hated driving in
and
Paris.
I mean, I grew up driving in Boston,
Right.
and Paris is like Boston on steroids.
Right.
Like it makes New York look tame.
Right.
Okay, so if a Tesla can drive in a city like New York or Paris or Boston, that means it can drive anywhere.
Right.
And not the same for Waymo.
Right.
This is the way to learn, I think.
Right. And I just want to also point out that we're looking at one camera's view just out the front.
Yeah.
Teslas have
8.
8 cameras. I mean, 2 are this view.
Right.
Or a couple of them are this view. And then you have side, you have rear. So it knows
You got
everything
you got
about it.
ultrasonics, you
Absolutely.
got radar. I mean,
Right.
yeah, this is absolutely incredible. I'm just fascinated by
yeah.
this. Lastly, this is kind of funny and kind of sad. It's
I think it's hilarious.
bittersweet.
It's really hilarious.
Okay, so let's just play it.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess what's going on here is that there's a fight that's happened.
Yeah.
We don't know why. This is
We don't know why. There's a lot of
We don't know
yelling.
if like there's a boyfriend involved or like
No idea.
infidelity, but
Right.
for whatever reason they're very upset at each other.
Yep.
Then the black Tesla Model S drives away.
Right.
kind of.
Almost hits that lady.
Right. Which then I guess infuriates her even more. So then she gets into her Model X.
Right.
And I guess as she's pulling out of the space, if you listen carefully, it sounds like she hits the car.
Right. You can see
Some damage to her car.
Yeah, you can see like parts of her car hanging
But
off.
now is that the end?
Oh, no,
wait.
that is not the end.
Oh, wait. So as the the Model S didn't leave.
No. So then, bam!
What did she do?
She floored it. She,
That's it. I think that's the first I've seen an S and an X getting into an
a
intentional collision.
Yeah, that was.
Can I just talk about? So the X has such amazing torque that she was only like,
She was at a crawl, basically.
yeah, and then she just floored it and just rammed the back of that thing.
Yeah.
Thank God the bike rider was gone by then.
Maybe he was, maybe or was he wasn't.
my
I mean,
gosh.
we didn't see him like fully leave the impact zone.
Wow.
But I mean, yeah, this is. It's hilarious.
I mean, luckily
it's-
no one was hurt. Hopefully.
we
I
have
don't-
no way to know that.
I hope not. I mean,
This is one of those videos that you find on the internet that has no context whatsoever, so you
Wow.
have no idea what's going on. It's like watching the Russian car accident. It's like you don't know what happens
here's the
afterward.
unintentional consequences of making such an awesome car. If you did this in an ICE vehicle, I think you'd barely be able to dent the rear fender.
Well, and the person would know that it was about to happen because you'd hear all.
that's a good point.
You know,
Why didn't the first Tesla get out of there?
I don't know. Again, don't speak Chinese. Don't know what was going on there, but that was hilarious.
2 Teslas that have to go into the shop, probably at the same time. So then the owners are going to be in there at the same time, like picking up their cars. This could happen all over again. Hey, we're just giving you a heads up, Tesla China.
But I mean,
Be
whatever.
on the
That's
lookout.
hilarious.
Wow.
I don't know.
Anyway, thank you so much for being our Patreons. You really, I mean, we got through some heavy FUD this week, and luckily we came out the other side. Pretty much, I just want to tell you, we were writing the in-depth that you're about to see tomorrow, writing it, and I'm not lying here. We predicted pretty much what happened. Now, no way did we know it was going to happen this fast.
No, I thought it was going to take weeks
Yeah.
and weeks and weeks.
Well, I thought it was going to take a week or two, but I didn't think Saturday night we'd
Right.
have an answer. Like as we're driving to a party, we were like hearing that
Oh,
it's over.
yeah, great.
So we, wow.
That's
but you
awesome.
were there. You
Yeah.
were there for us through all this, and
Right.
that's super important because we got through it. One
Yeah.
more FUD attack.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being our wonderful Patreons. We'll see you next week for a Patreon bonus stories. And hey, leave some comments in the YouTubes and the Patreons.
Mainly the Patreons.
Sure.
And, the YouTubes
Or the
not so
YouTubes,
much.
just so that way when I'm deleting all of the racist
We got to get you
people-
off the comments.
I know, but I don't want our comment section to have a bunch of
No, I totally agree,
awful
but
people in it.
I
So
agree.
those people good. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for supporting the show. Again, just we could not do it without you guys.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll see you here next week. But yeah, comment about like what you want to see or something. I don't
You
know.
wanna
Like,
see?
like if you're like, oh, I like videos about inspirational things, or show us some stuff that isn't as Tesla related, or I don't know.
see.
Whatever you guys want. I mean,
Yeah.
if we're doing a good job, you don't have to comment. But if you're like, hey,
You're just making more work for me.
I
Is
mean,
what you're doing.
well, no, whatever. That way, if we see it, we'll be like, oh, put that in the Patreon bonus
I
stories.
want Zach to get a tattoo.
We're not going to do that. That's a much higher perk level. Than
That's a great perk level.
not going to do that.
Speak for yourself.
Okay. Not for me, then.
If it was maybe a Tesla T right here.
But they get whatever they want. I don't think it's a good idea
Oh,
to let
that's a
the
good
internet
point.
decide
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, that'd
Even among
I
you
love
wonderful
BMW
people.
across my chest or something.
Luckily, no one seems to have infiltrated our Patreons yet, so that's quite nice.
could
Which means
happen.
it's just again
FUD,
wonderful.
that's the FUD.
wonderful to be able to talk
Fud might
to
be looking to do that.
nice people like you. So thank
Thanks
you
so
so
much,
much for
guys.
watching. Bye.